Hello everyone. Okay, this video is going to be titled Unboxing of a Seiko SRG017. Alright, let's get into it. Open up the box. It's a very nice box. Feels like wood. And the first thing that I notice is warranty information as well as instructions. Tells you all about the watch, the movement, how to take care of it in multiple languages, as well as the warranty information, as well as the warranty card. Good stuff to have. And here is the actual watch. SRG017. Now this watch is a Seiko Sportura of the Seiko Sportura line. And I'm going to tell you a little story about the Seiko Sportura. First and foremost, this is the second Sportura that I've had. The first one, I absolutely adored. It was my first Seiko, as a matter of fact, and this was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. And yeah, it was, nothing special. It was a chronograph, Sportura, and quartz, obviously quartz movement, but it was exceedingly comfortable. And I never had a watch hug my wrist quite as well, before or really even since. And the reason why, and for people who already have a Sportura, they know this, but the reason why it hugs your wrist so well is the case design. See how curved and angular it is? And being that the case back is also as flat as it is, it lies flat on your wrist and hugs, with these curved lugs here, the contour of your wrist. Now, being that, I was, dumb and didn't appreciate what I had, I ended up losing my first Sportura and, basically just never had another one. I always regretted it because I actually learned later on that the dual time zone / alarm feature on that Sportura could also be used as a GMT. And, boy, have I been kicking myself ever since then, because really that's the one kind of watch that'll tie in my entire collection is having a dual time zone watch. And losing that, yeah, I really kick myself even today about that. But anyway, getting back to this watch, this is a brand new model brought out by Seiko. It's a Kinetic direct drive caliber of the Sportura line. It is essentially the flagship of the Seiko Sportura line, as it is the most advanced movement of the Seiko Sportura line. As you can see, the power reserved on the right hand side. It goes up for an entire month after charging the power cell. First, let me tell you how a Kinetic actually works. There's a rotor inside, much like an automatic. And if you shake it, you might be able to hear. You hear that sound in the background? That's the actual rotor, turning on the inside. And it turns a gear that actually charges the power cell, which is inside the actual movement. The power cell acts as like a quartz battery. However, since it is such low capacity and only charges up to a month, it's able to last a lot longer than an actual quartz battery, which is why it's more eco-friendly and essentially, that will never need to be replaced ever. Essentially, if you continue to wear it. And So it uses the best of both worlds in the terms of the mechanism of, the automatic, with the added convenience of never having to replace a battery, but also having, the aspect of the quartz. And you can see that the second hand is ticking as opposed to sweeping, that the accuracy is that of a quartz watch. And that is most advantageous in the sense that, I essentially don't have to worry about, having to check whether or not it is sped up or slowed down on a day-to-day basis. I can actually check it once a month, once every quarter. Even if I, wasn't all that much of a stickler, I could check it once a year and it probably wouldn't be off by more than a couple of minutes. That's the advantage of quartz. So it has best of both worlds: the mechanism that charges it, and the accuracy of quartz. Power reserve goes up to a month, as you can see, but it is right now at just over a day. That's because I just got the watch. The crown you can hand wind and actually see the power reserve indicator sort of jump around until it settles down where the actual charge is. There you go, you see it go back. All right. Even if you end up shaking it, you'll see the power reserve indicator jump around and then resettle where it's supposed to be. Yep, there you go. Okay, now one of the reasons why you can, tell that this is the flagship of the line is not only due to the Kinetic direct drive movement, but also because the crystal is a sapphire crystal. That's actually a welcome surprise. I didn't realize that it had that until I actually opened up, or rather turned it around and saw on the case back that it's actually written down that there's a sapphire crystal. Might be able to see it. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see if I can get a zoom here. Well, if you can't see it, I promise you it's there. It is 100 meters water resistant. And yeah, that's what this crystal is. Now, this crown not only, hand winds the mechanism, but, pull out one position, for the ability to change the date. You can turn it counterclockwise, and it sends the date into the forward. Now, I just do this out of habit with my automatics. In order to change the date, I always set it to one day in the past, and then I'm going to wait until the second hand goes around, and then I simply move the time forward until, the date actually changes. Whether or not that's something that needs to be done with a quartz watch or not, I do not know. All I know is that, if that's the way that I'm supposed to do it with the automatics, I'm going to do it with my quartz, and it shouldn't, be of any ill consequence to err on the side of caution. Now, I believe that the secondhand hacks as well. Let's see if it does. And it does. Excellent. So you see the time now is 2:19, so I'm just going to set it to 2:20 in the afternoon. As you see, I set it in the afternoon, so the date is already beginning to change. Let's see when it changes exactly. Okay, so that was at 48. That is 11:48 in the evening, or at night, that the date actually changes. Okay, so it is now 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., going around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and 2:21. Let's see here, get it lined up, push it back in, and then it keeps on ticking. All right. Now it is a bit of a larger watch, but I find that the heft is actually welcome. You know, it feels like it hugs the wrist, and I like that feeling. The bracelet I find to be absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, there's brushed as well as right next to it polished accents on the bracelet. The links are all solid. The sides are also brushed. They're simple pins that you push in, push out. Fold over clasp with dual button deployment. And my most favorite thing that I see on a Seiko of quality, solid end links. Solid end links are a sign to me that the bracelet is of high quality and will not simply bust off due to the fact that the pins are unsecured. And let me show you how it is on the wrist. And there it is. That is my Seiko SRG017 Sportura Kinetic Direct Drive. As you can see, its heft is quite nice, but once again, it hugs my wrist due to the lugs, as you can clearly see. And the fit is it's fantastic. It truly feels like it hugs my wrist, even though the face is larger than really I think any of my other watches. I was a bit disappointed to see that this bezel does not rotate, but truthfully, the complication of the kinetic movement as well as the power reserve indicator and the date as well is it's more than sufficient complication. There's no real need for a bezel, a dive bezel on this watch. I have enough watches with dive bezels, so you know this suffices just fine. Okay, so everybody, feel free to like and or comment on the bottom, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the holiday season, and thank you for watching.